As Thomas Jefferson penned the Declaration of Independence, British forces were on their way toward New York Harbor. The Declaration begins, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation." Fast forward almost 2.5 centuries later, and we're left with some interesting facts about our modern day 4th of July that may have left the die-hard patriot founders of this country scratching their heads and wondering what the heck happened to the freedom they tried to secure for their posterity. So here are 21 interesting facts about the 4th of July most people probably don't know, and after they hear about them, wish they didn't know. Because as George Carlin said, "We Americans like our ignorance." Number 1, the succulent hot dog. It's one of America's most popular foods, with the average person consuming 50 of them every year. And even though hot dogs are one of the most nutritionally bankrupt foods you could put in your mouth, and have been found in study after study to increase your colorectal cancer risk by 21% per 50-gram serving, which is one hot dog, Americans still manage to choke down over 7 billion of them during peak hot dog season, which is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, with over 155 million of them consumed on the 4th of July alone. Guys, that's enough to stretch from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles more than 5 times. And speaking of choking something down, hot dogs pose another danger to your child that you may not be aware of. They're responsible for 17% of all choking cases among children, killing 80 kids every year. Number 2, on Independence Day, over 68 million cases of beer are sold around the country. Number 3, unfortunately, the 4th of July ranks as the deadliest holiday of the year. And I can't help but wonder if the combination of beer and fireworks sales has anything to do with it. Hey Sammy, hold my cigarette and beer and watch this. Number 4, there were approximately 2.5 million people living in the United States on July 4th, 1776. Today, there's roughly 313 million. Number 5, Independence Day commemorates the formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. However, it was not declared a legal holiday until 1941. Number 6, Uncle Sam was first popularized during the War of 1812 when the term appeared on supply containers. And believe it or not, the U.S. Congress didn't adopt him as a national symbol of war and outright theft until 1961. Number 7, the first 2 versions of the Liberty Bell were defective and had to be melted down and recast. The 3rd version rang every 4th of July from 1778 to 1835, when, according to tradition, it cracked as it was being tolled for the death of Chief Justice John Marshall. Number 8, the American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, is set to the tune of an English drinking song. The name of the song? To Anacreon in Heaven. Number 9, the iron framework of the Statue of Liberty was devised by French engineer Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, who built the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Number 10, fireworks were made in China as early as the 11th century. The Chinese used their pyrotechnic invention for war rockets and explosives. Number 11, Americans spend $203 million just on condiments for the 4th of July. That's more than the $193 million we spend on hamburger patties. Number 12, but no July 4th spending compares to fireworks. Nationwide, Americans spend at least $600 million on fireworks for Independence Day alone. Number 13, 97% of those imported fireworks are from China. Number 14, as irony would have it, an American struggle with an unemployment problem, with manufacturing jobs being exported to other countries, it's interesting to note that on a day that supposedly celebrates American strength and independence, we get 88% of the U.S. flags that we wave to celebrate that independence as a foreign import from where else? China. Number 15. The song Yankee Doodle was originally sung prior to the Revolution by British military officers mocking the unorganized and buckskin-wearing Yankees. Number 16. Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence on a laptop, which back then was a writing desk that could fit on one's lap. Number 17. The average age of those who signed the Declaration of Independence was 45. The youngest, Thomas Lynch Jr. of South Carolina, was 27 years old. The oldest, Benjamin Franklin of Pennsylvania, was 70. Thomas Jefferson himself was 33 at the time. Number 18. The printed version of the Declaration of Independence was called the Dunlap Broadside. 200 were made, but only 27 are accounted for. Number 19. The Declaration of Independence was signed by 56 men representing the 13 colonies. The moment marked the beginning of all-out war against the British. The American Revolutionary War is said to have started in 1775, however. The Declaration was signed more than 2 years after Boston officials refused to return 3 shiploads of taxed tea to Britain, fueling colonists to dump the tea into the harbor in what became the infamous Boston Tea Party. Number 20. Furious at the December 1773 Boston Tea Party, the British Parliament in 1774 passed the Coercive Acts. The particular provisions of the Coercive Acts were offensive to Americans, but it was the possibility that the British might employ their army to enforce them that primed many colonists for armed resistance. The Patriots of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania resolved, quote, that in the event of Great Britain attempting to force unjust laws upon us by the strength of arms, our cause we leave to heaven and to our rifles. A South Carolina newspaper essay reprinted in Virginia urged that any law that had to be enforced by the military was necessarily illegitimate. And number 21. Besides the political tensions caused by unjust taxation, what was the straw that broke the camel's back and forced the colonists to dissolve the political bands which had connected them with Great Britain? Well, believe it or not, and contrary to widespread public school indoctrination, it was the British gun control program that precipitated the American Revolution and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The 1774 import ban on firearms and gunpowder, the 1774 through 75 confiscations of firearms and gunpowder, and the use of violence by the British to effectuate confiscations. It was these events that changed a situation of political tension into a shooting war. Each of these British abuses provides insights into the scope of the modern Second Amendment. So guys, in our time, this 4th of July, this Declaration of Independence from tyrannical dictators and enslaving oppression, as you chug your beer and choke down your nitrate-laden hot dogs, give some thought to the real reason for the celebration of this holiday. Take a look around. Notice the very real stronghold of governmental oppression. Snap yourselves out of your media-induced comas and prepare yourself for the advancing war. It is coming. There's no question about that. The only question that remains is, will you be ready or will you go back to sleep? Guys, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you want to support the work I do here, head on over to my store and pick up one of these hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirts that are pretty much guaranteed to provoke thought and spark dialogue as we continue to educate people about what's actually going on in the world today and how these issues directly affect us as individuals. You'll find the link to the store in the description below, and you can use the 5OFF promo code to get your discount. Until next time, remember what Thomas Edison said. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. Let's roll up our sleeves and do the work that it's going to take to change this world. I'll see you guys in the next video.